Hello and welcome to another episode of Blastercated Painting. And today it turns out I can't think of anything funny to say about witch hunters. Because they're so serious. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to give this a spray all over of Wraithbone from Citadel. Just good coverage, and I use the basing technique from the skeletons video that I put up before, so check that out. And we're going to put on black Templar on all the jacket and gloves and everything on the outside. The inside of the jacket we're going to do something a little different. You want to put this on. Black Templar is a weird one. It can go really well or really poorly. Just try to watch the levels of it. So for the next step, we're going to take a 1-to-1 mix of Cygor brown and contrast medium. Cygor brown is really dark, so you have to thin it down, and we're going to put this on the pants. It's just going to break up some of the other colors that we're going to use after. Next thing we're going to do on all the straps across and some of the pieces, we're going to do Gore-Grunta Fur. On the inside of the coat, we're going to do Skeleton Horde. Just going to be like a creamy, very light beige color. Obviously, it's not a skeleton, but it's a good color for the inside of a suede. Is that the color of suede? I think suede can be any color. I don't know much about suede. And on any of the remaining leather pieces, we're going to use Snakebite Leather. Again, it looks patchy and like leather at the end. I think Snakebite Leather might be one of the better of the contrast paints. And I don't show this step, but in between, if I get any paint somewhere where I don't want it to, I just go back in with the Wraithbone and I just clean it up a little bit. So like when I was doing the pants on the Cygor brown, I got some on the strappings that go around the leg. Just go in and just cover them over. Takes a couple seconds. It's easier if you're just careful, but at least you can kind of erase your mistakes this way. I'm going to go in here and do all the scabbards of the sword in the Blood Angels Red from Citadel. It's just going to add up more visual interest. Also, I'm going to do the bedroll in his back later green, and those colors obviously are complementary. And it's not so much red and green that he's just going to look like Christmas. Can you look like Christmas? Yeah, well, he won't look like Christmas. And you can see right there that I got blood on the stake, so that's what I was talking about. Just go in with the Wraithbone and clean that up. It's going to make your life easier, and then you don't have to worry about being so careful. So to do the face, we're just going to do the Guilliman Flesh contrast. It's okay if you get that over his mustache, because we're going to go in and fix that up after. We'll just take the Wraithbone and go in and clean it up, and I'm going to say it like 1,000 times in this video. On the torch that he's holding, we're going to go in and we're just going to do Wyldwood on the wood there. I really like Wyldwood. Really nice color to get all those little grains in there and everything. I don't know, it's a nice color. Don't question it. We're going to do all the metal silver parts in the heavy metal by scale 75. So he's got his shoulder pads, he's got this collar around his neck, and I believe a bit on his shirt down here. and on the gun barrel as well. I think in this process I actually do the gun barrel later, but yeah, we're going to use the scale 75 heavy metal. For the fire on the torch, we're going to use the Gryph-Hound Orange contrast, and while that's still wet, we're going to put on a thick layer of the Ayandan yellow contrast, and then I'm going to wick off our brush and start pulling colors off of it and kind of mix them together, and it should give us, the yellow and the orange should mix together to make a really easy fire effect. I don't really like sitting there painting fire, it takes forever. This is a really good way to get a nice effect without having to do much work. On the hilt of the swords, we're going to go in and we're going to scale 75 Dwarven Gold on the hilt and on the end of the scabbard, the tip of the scabbard, metal tip of the scabbard, just the tip of the scabbard. I don't actually know what that part is called. I could Google it, but I'm irresponsible. Don't want to. That Dwarven Gold is also going to go on the emblem on his breastplate there. And on the stake that he's got on his belt, we're just going to do a quick little thing of Aggaros Dunes. Really easy, really simple, nothing crazy. I think it's the only spot we're going to use that color. I don't know. I painted this months ago. So for his hair, I'm going to use Basilicanum Grey because we want it to look, he's an older gentleman. So he's got a little salt and pepper. Got nothing else to say to that. We're also going to put just a tiny little bit of that on his, on the mustache. His mustache. And now that the fire has dried, we're going to go in and do the metal bits on the torch again with that scale 75 heavy metal. So what would normally be the wood on the pistol, I actually just went in and did the old copper from scale 75. I just wanted to look a little different. I don't know. He's a fancy gentleman. And this is where I went in and I used the contrast paint Militarum Green for the bedroll that he has on his backpack. And much like the previous video I put up, skeletons, we're going to do the Space Wolves Grey on the base. Then we're going to hit it with the Basilicanum Grey on the base. And we're actually going to do a dry brush this time of whatever light gray paint you have lying around. Honestly, I think for dry brushing it's not that big of a deal. I just use dollar store craft paint. Craft paint. Crap paint. They're the same thing. And that is the completed model. Now, when I sprayed this down, it was humid outside and it got a little frosting. That sucked, but you know what? It doesn't look that bad. It just looks a little dusty, no big deal. This is one of the things you can do with contrast. You can do a quick paint job. It doesn't look terrible. I mean, there's a couple spots I missed that I can see. I can go in and fix those. But it really is just a good way to get some things. And anyway, I hope you liked this video. Like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. And hopefully we'll see you on the next one. He's an older gentleman. He's got a little salt and pepper in his hair. A little salt and pepper. A little salt and pepper. Little salt and pepper hair. Oh, you got a little salt and pepper hair. I'm scratching my eye.